Hey, folks, what's going on? How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land and Facebook land and all the different lands and everything? Hey, don't forget, we always ask, where are you from? City, state, and zip. I see a couple people, not zip. You don't have to send me your zip code or your address. Go ahead and send me everything. Let me see. Jolin's out there. Greetings from Low Country, South Carolina. I like the little member symbol there. How about that? Tech for Senior. Ron's here. Good to see you. There you go. Nice compliment there. Also a member. Looks like we got about 7 watching. I don't know if this is a topic that people are definitely interested in stuff. Don't forget, if you have any questions during or after or whatever, be sure to put your questions out there so we can bring them up on screen, because we'd love to hear what you have to say about or bring up the questions and tips and stuff like that. So, all right. So we're going to talk about today. Well, how about if I bring my guest on and I'll explain to you and we'll just go over exactly what we're going to talk about today. So Mike and LTMW, that's what I use as your last name now. I hope that's okay. Because nobody knows your last name. But anyway, and we don't need to, right? It's just NLTMW. That's how you find yourself everywhere. Look at your shirt.
Google it. You can read the shirt.
That's right. And if there's orange somewhere, you're probably soon to follow there. So that's usually the way that works. Yeah, no, this is cool. I think this is a cool topic as well, because I think that we're going to be talking about 3D printing. It's really cool. And I know you're involved in this, and you've probably been, how long have you been involved in it?
A long time? Since June 2015.
Wow. That's incredible.
My first machine.
That's so cool. That is so cool. And I think that's amazing. So there you go. Even you put out there where you're from, what you're doing. Yeah. Tell us where you're from, folks. Put it out there. Oh, we got Bob, another member there from Bellevue, Washington. Great to see you. All right. Fantastic. I love it. Excellent day. That's great. No. So yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into a little bit. First of all, what is it? What is a 3D printer? I know that's a very open and broad statement, but help us out there, Mike.
Okay. 3D printing, there's basically 2 main ways of making things, manufacturing things. Mm-hmm. You can subtract or you can add. Subtractive manufacturing is like on a lathe where you carve off the wood or the steel, or you whittle and make a whistle out of it and things like that. Right. You're subtracting material from a clump that you start with. Then there's additive, which is if you welded things together, you're adding pieces together. And this is similar. 3D printing basically is about making things out of layers. The 2 common kinds, there's a lot of different ways of doing 3D printing, most of which I cannot afford. Right. Big companies can barely afford it. And there's some cool stuff, including making body parts for people. They're working on that. I know someone who actually touched a human hair that was grown in 3D printing.
That's so cool. I mean, I think that's incredible, actually.
Yeah. And that company kind of sideways a bit, but
I know people have heard of injection molding.
Yeah.
Is that a different thing, or kind of it's
like that, or forging, like when you're making car parts, when you're smashing and shaping things, pottery, the same kind of thing, you're
okay. That makes sense.
So I don't know where that falls in the additive.
But it's not, but that's really not printing though, is it?
No. This is okay. I'm going to talk about 2 different ways of doing 3D printing, commonly that mere mortals like us can afford. The under $1,000 price tag, from $200 to way too expensive. 2 different kinds. One's called resin. It starts with a vat of liquid resin, liquid plastic, and there's a plate that comes down. It goes down into the vat. There's basically your cell phone, same technology, that flashes a light up onto the bottom, and it cures the bottom layer. And it's just enough time that it only cures a little bit. It's all, science does.
Exactly.
And it just goes and it moves up and the thing grows out of the plastic. It looks cool. It's very smooth. Here's an example of something that was resin.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
You can't see The stuff I'll show in a minute, you'll see the layer lines, but you can't.
Yeah, you can't see where it was layered at any point.
Yeah. Mine. There we go. So you can't see it. That's resin. Problem with resin for home use is that it's not good for your health. A lot of people react very badly to it, both breathing wise and chemicals on your skin wise. It hardens in the sun, which is where the light comes into it. So if you have it on your skin, you go outside, it's going to harden in or on your skin.
I got you.
That's major burns. Not the guy from MASH. Wow, I pulled that one up quick. But
I get that. No, that makes sense because I'm in the flooring business. Right. We use resins. I 100% understand you have to have a catalyst, all that kind of stuff, and there's dangers to all of that. So yeah, no, I 100% get where you're coming from.
Light, UV light.
Right. Sunshine. Right. Yes. Which ours is sort of like that. Only you're adding 160 degrees and then dropping back down. So yeah, exactly. No, that makes total sense. And we have to differentiate when we do that. So I understand the chemical end of it from that point of view, because we can lower that amount so that it doesn't get, so if there is something that's outside and we're doing that floor process, then we need to change that and adjust that accordingly, because it's going to be a lot hotter. So that makes sense. So anyway, but that's not what we're talking about today, right?
And what most people, when they start to think, oh, I'm going to try resin printing because it makes such nicer stuff. Your build volume per money is pretty small, but the stink, the spousal acceptance factor is very challenging. I don't have that problem. And also just the chemicals are bad for you. So you have to ventilate it. I was using my second bathroom downstairs for mine. It was great because I was an exhaust fan, goes right outside. I don't go down there a lot, so it was perfect. Nice. Then my youngest spawn moved back home and needed that bathroom again. So my resin
changed. Well, let's show. I think I'm gonna be showing a non. Yeah, go to the next one. So I'm gonna actually show this one. This is a more common one that most people would probably go by anyway. I think the layering one, is that right? Is that what this is? I guess they're both layering. It's just this one's not with resin. Layering. This is just.
Yeah, this one just does it where you can see it as it builds. The resin happens in a puddle and you can't see it until it's
right
an inch into it usually.
Right.
Now with this technology here is called FDM. I got to read it because I can't remember it. Fused deposition modeling. Now, basically what that means is you melt plastic together to make the object. It's basically, you're all familiar with glue guns, I assume.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Same idea. You're just going and drawing shapes, and then you go up and you do another layer, like making a cake or a hero sandwich if you're old enough to remember Dagwood. And then what it uses is spool of plastic filament like this. This here is called PLA. It's plant-based, based on corn. There's some brands that smell kind of like maple syrup a bit, like you're cooking pancakes when you make it.
That's fun.
But
that would be the one that I want. Pancakes.
I noticed some of them smell more than others, but I just snapped off a piece because this stuff's like spaghetti backwards. When it gets wet, it gets brittle. And some people will fight about that, but for me, that's the way it works here. So
interesting.
Humidity is the enemy. People in Florida have a harder time printing than I do. And it just feeds off the spool and it keeps pushing it out the little nozzle and makes shape.
That's so cool. Jolin says, while you're spinning around there, it says, Jolin says, I'm fascinated by how 3D printing has evolved and can use so many different materials to make and build incredible things. Go ahead. There you go. You got your next item here.
So many materials now. Metals are coming along pretty well, but
not
in the home budget yet.
Wow.
I can print with plastic with a whole bunch, like a really high metal content, really tiny particles. And then put it in the oven and sinter it, melt out the plastic, and it's steel.
That is just crazy.
It's a lot of work. Or you can send it off and have somebody else do it. That's what I would do. But, and you print things like this, and it's all just made in layers. It just goes up till it gets to the top. This kind of helps demonstrate because it's a multicolor roll where it starts with up. So
yeah, that's really cool.
That's done, made by a friend of mine. And then
What
should we do next?
Well, I'm going to show real quick. I showed this I did a trailer to this. I did a trailer for this, and I am going to show, it's my turn. I'm going to show off this. This is something you made for me, which is really cool. It's really simple. If you think about it, it's just a kind of an angled piece of plastic that I gave you measurements that I wanted to have an angle where the light coming down would not reflect my iPad. So I can rest my iPad on there, and you added the cool feature of adding my logo to it. So I think that was awesome. And these can get expensive. I mean, and really with the shipping and the material you use and multicolor, all the different things like that, all of that can become very
expensive. Of these costs to me here there was some on sale for $20 on Black Friday. I bought 3 rolls. Didn't care what color they were. They're just for prints, for testing. This stuff comes from the Czech Republic. It's my favorite. If I could use this all the time, I would. But to me here, it'll cost me $60 Canadian a spool. 1 kilogram.
Yeah.
So
shipping's probably
pounds. Oh yeah, shipping is another pain.
That's right.
There's a place in actually they just cut a deal with a company in Delaware. But for me to get free shipping to Canada, I have to spend $300 US there, which doesn't take long. Trust me.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
6 spools, I'm there. So
Jella says, so with that multicolor one, do you have to change colors midstream?
No, that particular one is it's a gradient filament. So the outer part of the spool is the brownish purpley bottom color. Then it'll kind of fade into a greenish color.
That's so cool.
Kind of fades into the gold.
So it's all in the spool that way.
Yeah, it's all in the spool. And
that is so cool.
There's no way to determine when it's going to change. So when
I see.
You just kind of push. You get experience after a while, and you look at the spool, and I don't have one here to show you, but another good piece over there like that. The other way to do it is with this stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you're showing this.
Where it's gold on one side.
Yeah.
Now this is a different one. They do it with 2 colors at once into the spool, basically left and right. And they feed 2 colors in, and it squirts out with one half of it being one color and one being the other. So there'll be another one somewhere. There it is.
That's pretty cool.
There's another one that's like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I printed this one today as a test. But see where it changed from blue to silver?
Yeah, it looks black on here, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Dark gray kind of silver.
Yeah.
So it doesn't quite work the way I hoped. Those are just Christmas, literally called baubles. That's kind of all they are.
Very cool.
Won't see those. The camera will not do this justice, Alex.
Right, I'm sure.
But it's a blue, black, shiny. It's cool. I forget what they call it.
That's really cool.
It's a new spool I just got from a Canadian company. They claim to make it here. Not sure.
There you go. And 𝐩𝐚𝐜𝐬𝐿, I don't says they all look great, Mike. There you go. See, how about that? Now, one thing I think is interesting as well is one thing that's super cool is the fact that little pieces can be made. Let's say something breaks off, or you have this little part, or you have this little plastic screw or something that you had and it broke off, or that kind of thing. If you have that and can get the dimensions and get it close, you can start making or do something that as repair things. Because I've seen that. I think you sent me, I can't remember the place you sent me, and you'll have to verify that. But there's a place where you can shop for different things and little trinkets and all that kind of stuff. But they had some cool stuff there too, of stuff, replacement parts for certain things, right?
I had a guy contact me.
Oh, Dr. Stewart. Cool.
In the summer, beginning of summer. His garage door, less than 10 years old, roll-up door, has these little plastic brackets, but I still don't understand what they do mechanically, but they're there. They're where the hinges would be. There's these plastic things that kind of keep the panels aligned, I think, basically. And they were all cracking across the middle. So he got a hold of me randomly, I guess through my website. Anyways, he reached out and said, hey, can you? So I went to his house, picked up the broken ones, brought one of them home, 3D scanned it, which is the first part of that magic, and then created a model, like drew over it with proper structural shapes that I can use.
Way too cool.
3D models aren't that good. So, but they get you close, gave the shapes and alignment and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I made them, took out half a dozen of them to him to try, had to make a little design adjustment, little iteration, made some more, drove them out again. Then I had to adjust the holes because as he went to install them all, he had like 16 of them or 18 or something. As he went to install
changed.
Well, the holes, when the guys, when they put the doors together, they're moving. They aren't, being.
Oh, that's true.
Careful.
That's
that
true.
might be why some of them cracked.
Ah, I see.
So I went back and made another half dozen that had the holes a little bit bigger, different spacing. So
that's really super cool.
It was another.
All right. How about
backyard? The canopies with the metal poles,
yeah.
ones that you throw out every year because they fall apart over the winter. Took one of those, scanned it, redid it, made it out of a better plastic than any of this stuff.
That's so cool.
I think I used ASA on it, which is closer to polycarbonate, I think. So that it
just so it wouldn't fall apart after 1 year, right?
Yeah. And apparently it worked. I haven't got yelled at, so I guess.
So
simple things like you need a drive bracket for your computer and you don't feel like going to the store, you just print one.
That's so funny.
Into the computer.
That's so cool. I love stuff like that. I think it's so.
How
long would it take to create the snowflake cube? Ron says. Yeah, I think you showed the one cube that looked like.
This took.
Yeah, there you go. Snowflake cube.
Done by a guy called Clock Spring 3D. He does really cool models. I pay to get his models, but I can't sell them. I'm not paying a fee for that. I don't make enough money with this stuff for that. But this took just under 2 hours to print today.
That's crazy cool.
Which may sound like a lot, but it's really not.
It doesn't sound to me. That doesn't sound like a lot at all. I mean, some of the things it's like 10 hours.
It's a single line all around. Like there's no.
Oh, I see.
They call it vase mode, whatever you want. And that's how you do those. And he's really good at that. He also did these.
Super cool.
Those are his as well.
And those are his design. Are you, when you say that, that's his design?
I pay, I don't know, $8 a month or something to be on his Patreon, and I get access to 4 or 5 new models every month. Nice. Another one that when Jolin mentioned color, you can also do.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna put you full screen for a second. Hold on, we'll see that. There we go.
There's a.
That's crazy cool.
5 different filaments, and yes, it goes in, and it does brown for a bit, then it does white for a bit, and then there's the times here where it's a little bit of orange, a little bit of black, and a little bit of white in a layer. The downside of this that people all complain about is that to make this, there's also a corresponding block, not solid, but partially solid, of all the colors as you're going until you get up to the top where it was just barely white tip because he's gray and brown on the inside of his ears. So that block usually weighs more than the part. The secret, though, is to make 5 at once so that you're, reducing the waste. And
very interesting.
And then you can also do things like this guy with that. One of the popular things in the last year or so has been flexibles. So
that's wild.
That's the guy from Jigsaw.
So yeah, how are they attached then? I mean, how is something like that attached?
Here, I'll show you.
I can't really tell, but
whoa, that was almost close. There's Donkey Kong. You can see.
Oh, it's like snap-in or something, isn't it?
No, it's printed in place.
Oh, wow.
This isn't a high quality print. I did it as a fast print just to see if it would work. But
wow, I see now. They're ringed into each other or whatever.
It usually hangs on a shelf.
That's pretty cool.
Right, keep him. But those
Dr. Stewart.
Popular.
Dr. Stewart says, how big is your library of 3D models?
I don't have to worry about it. Have I filled lots of drive space? Sure.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's repositories out on the internet. They're either pay or free. Lots of free stuff. And
show them the Stream Deck one that you.
Okay. Good point.
That was cool. That was awesome.
2 parts to this story we'll go through. Okay. Oh, you mean these?
Yes.
Okay.
That's so cool. And it's got magnets in it. He's put the magnets in and everything already. It's really cool.
Wow, this is a prototype. You can see the magnets in this one. Usually I try to do it so that there's a thin layer of plastic covering the magnets. Just so
super cool. Super cool.
These are for the I have now lost control.
The large Stream Deck. Look at that. Isn't that so cool?
What's
the magnets on the Stream Deck connect to the magnets on this device. And he made me one. It's with our tinkering with tech colors.
But yes.
So cool. So cool. I mean, it works great because you can get the height you want. Now, if you specify and get the height you want, then that's a special order cost, all that kind of stuff. But you actually do sell that though, don't you?
Oh yeah, I sell those on Etsy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I do
cool.
sell them once in a while. One of my
next
products coming for Etsy is
look at that.
It's for the smaller one. This is the Mark II, the newer model of the 15.
Love it. Love it. That is so cool.
And I got that one to fit there, but I'm also want to make one for the version 1, the one with the permanent cord attached. So I had this one that I was working on yesterday.
I love that. That's so cool.
On the Mark II, you can actually remove the black face that comes with it, and I made that one to fit in it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Did it so it fits, so it snaps in place. These ones, you don't have that option. You can only do something that sits over top that sits on it. And this is an early version yesterday, but I didn't get the size of that corner quite right. It's too tight on the corners. It doesn't really fit right. So I was like, I can guess and print 3 or 4 more until I guess right. Or I went on to one of those file suppositories, in this case, printables, I think, .com. And I picked up one of these and I printed it out in like an hour while I had lunch. So cool. And it's a radius guide. So what it does is I can use this to, well, this is hard to do. I don't have the right glasses on for that. Just see which one fits better.
That's so cool.
And I know that it's between 2 and 4, so it's the 3. I don't know why the guy put the numbers on it so big. He must have worse eyes than I do. It was a quick solution, made a tool, got the job done, and then I had trouble with the printer. I'm still fighting with that today. So
this is a good question, Mike.
Option today to get people to help me out.
Dr. Stewart said, "What's your Etsy link, Mike?" You definitely have to put that out there for us. So
Niagara 3D. Just go on Etsy and put Niagara 3D.
Really? Okay.
Other stuff we do for fun is the beginning of the pandemic, 3D printing people filled the need for PPE, face shields, and things like that. So we were all printing face shields in our basements and donating them to wherever. There was a lot of them made. And one of the things this year is one of the members in our 3D printing community is involved in a suicide awareness program in the school she teaches on in the States somewhere. And they were making these yellow keychains. And she made a deal that if we all printed them, a set of whatever there was, 10 or 12 of them, she would donate $1 for everybody that did it or something. And then other people jumped in, and I don't know what number they're at because it ends tomorrow, I guess, or maybe the next day, December 1st, I think it ends. And then she'll donate all the money to their local chapter for that.
Ron asked question. Yeah, that's pretty cool. For starting out, what is the price and model you would recommend if you were to do that?
Question.
I hear you.
It's a popular question, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's it depends what kind of person you are. If you're willing to tinker and fiddle with things and spend some time fixing some of the shortcomings of a cheaper printer, under $200 to $300 is probably a good spot to start. There's a few companies that are China-based that make machines that are clones and variations of better machines. And it's a good place to start because you're only a couple $100 in. If you hate it, you can unload it for $100 on Facebook at your place and wash your hands.
Right. Exactly.
Stupid like me, you spend a lot more.
Jella says, "Ooh, so nice, Mike. Have to talk to you about that one." And she's talking about the Stream Deck one. Yeah, that is kind of cool, isn't it? It's kind of cool.
Yep, they're there.
Here we go. There's the link that he put out there. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Nice of you to do, Doc. Appreciate you, Doc. There you go.
I got so many things. What? I need more questions.
Well, here's the deal. We're at time, but a lot of these are community members, and they can come right in with us in the backstage pass. So you're going to be able to come in and join us as we get ready to talk with Mike in the backstage. It's going to be kind of fun because usually you're one of the ones asking questions with the guests that come up. Look at that. Wow, that's just kind of scary.
People always ask me, how big can you print? This was how big I could print 4 years ago. Now I can do bigger. But problem with bigger is if it fails here on the way up.
Oh yeah.
$50 worth of plastic. So
yeah, that's true. Never thought about that.
Huh. One of the original things for me getting into this was I saw a big dinosaur head about almost 3 feet long on a coffee table in a store somewhere. I was like, wow, I want one of those. I'm like, but I don't want to pay the however many $100 it was for it. So I thought, I'll get a printer and then I can make my own. And this is the biggest thing I've made. I do have a bigger one over there, part of one, but it's not finished yet. So
how cool is that?
Here's the grand finale. One of my other projects. Oh, I can't even use my Stream Deck and turn off the lights.
That's cool.
Neon rope light. It's LED based. It's orange if I didn't have so many lights on in here. And what I make is I make the plastic tray for it to go in to keep it the right shape for doing signs.
Super cool. That is super cool.
That'll be an after Christmas project at this point.
That's really super interesting and cool. All right. Hey, folks, members, if you're a member, come join us in the backstage pass. I will send it in the tinkering link where to find us and come join. Those that have been before, you know it already, so we're good. But I will put that link in there for the backstage pass. We would love to have you come in and chat with us. I know Michael, I'm sure a lot of questions will be there for you too. So there will be, right? So let me put that link out there so you guys can come in and join in the backstage pass. We'll get over in there. Mike, thank you so much for joining today. Kind of a last minute, so I appreciate you coming on, but also just showing off some of the stuff that you do and can do, and hopefully get some business out of it, because you're such a giving person, but at the same time, I mean, come on. I mean, it's not free. It's not free, this stuff. So let me do the outro, and thanks again, Mike. I appreciate you. And we'll see you in the backstage pass area. Don't forget, if you want to become a member of the channel, just to do that, join at the $9.99 level. You can come in the backstage passes with us whenever we do this. So right down here, there should be a join button somewhere down there. Come join us, and we would love to have you in the community. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye, all. Take care. See ya.